Number 10, jointed fingers. Joints. Plushtrap is kind of odd when it comes to his fingers and toes, as animatronics in the game appear to have 5 fingers and 5 toes. Being a plush version though, he instead has 4 fingers and 3 toes. And in the FNAF VR game Help Wanted, this stayed the same, but his finger design did change slightly, as his fingers now had joints. Why is this scary? His finger joints should allow his hands to be more flexible and agile like a human's, increasing the possibility that he could use his now more adept fingers and hands to tear your flesh if he should catch you. Number 9, friendly jump scare. Plushtrap can sometimes be seen in the FNAF VR Help Wanted game, giving you a jump scare kind of randomly. Though fortunately, at least this jump scare is not one that will result in the player's death. When you are rewarded with a gift box after successfully completing a minigame in Help Wanted, there is a chance that instead of getting a reward, Plushtrap will be waiting inside that gift box to jump scare you. While this jump scare doesn't do any in-game harm to your character, it can still scare you, as you usually aren't really expecting it. After all, you just successfully beat a minigame and it's a gift, so you likely won't be expecting something bad to jump out of it at you, unless you suffer from Dronophobia. Then this might be one unexpected scare that you actually expected. Number 8, plushie. While most plushies that one sees seem to be adorable and cuddly, Plushtrap is definitely not that. He's a plushie that I'm sure more people would rather do anything than cuddle. He looks terrifying, and for a good reason. He's a murderous little plush. I personally have always found the idea of murderous plushies, dolls, figures more frightening than the idea of a large animatronic murdering me, because plushies are usually kept in bedrooms, and the idea that they could come to life at night and kill you in your sleep is terrifying. More terrifying, I'd argue, than the animatronics in the world of FNAF. At least in most cases with the large entertainment animatronics, you usually interact with them when it is part of your job to actually watch them. So it should be harder, in theory, for them to get at you, as at least you have your guard up. But with a plush antagonist, most stories or games involving them imply that the victim or player already kind of has their guard down, giving a plush foe more of an opportunity to strike.
At 7, he is William Afton. His name is William Afton, and for one reason or another, he ended up killing kids and then stuffing them into animal-themed robotic suits. While that hasn't directly been confirmed, we can get as close as we can with some keen observation. Aside from the obvious, that being the similar MO to Afton, the stuffing kids in suits like Glitchtrap does in the Pizza Party ending, the color of the bow tie and eyes, particularly the eyes since they're the windows to the soul. But we can get even more confirmation with the Curse of Dreadbear, the Halloween DLC to Help Wanted. In this DLC, we can see Glitchtrap once, and it's on the hill next to the FNAF 4 house on the loading screen. You know, like that hub thing where you pick the games. If you press the button at the back of the monitor and then turn around to look at the car for 10 seconds, you will turn back around to see Glitchtrap doing his creepy freaking dance on the hill that's next to the hill that has the FNAF 4 house. So he's on a different hill, but it's like next to the other hill. We know for a fact that Scott uses his next game to clarify things from his last one, and with another 15 games and a whole new ending, that being the Corn Maze ending, this DLC is basically a new game. And him intentionally putting Glitchtrap next to the FNAF 4 house is pretty much confirmation. Plus, if you turn around to look at the car again, you will see that the car headlights change from white to purple, adding yet another layer of confirmation, but also potentially hinting at the fact that it was indeed William in the purple Midnight Motorist car.
Number 6, dark rooms. What's scarier than the minigame featuring Plushtrap from FNAF 4? The same minigame, but in VR. In Help Wanted, you get to revisit the fun with Plushtrap minigame in the level Dark Rooms, except this time, you feel as though the darkness and the sounds of the minigame are all around you. And any jump scare you suffer, if you fail, will be right up in your face. Too close for comfort.
Halfway through and number 5 was almost German. This was actually first seen in a MatPat video, I believe. At the start of one of his FNAF theories, he showed us a clip from a live stream of his that showed what the voice actor Kellen Goff originally had in mind, which was a German variation of what we hear normally, which is honestly kind of funny, but also weird. I know that everyone has been assuming this takes place in the United States, but what if it actually took place in Germany? Actually, based on everything that happens in the series, it has to be the US. Probably Florida, if I'm being honest. Can you imagine those headlines? Like, Florida man slaughters 15 children while working for Children's Pizzeria, or Florida man dresses like Golden Rabbit in order to kill kids. Honestly, that's probably a thing already, if I'm being honest. I know a bunny, man. Oh, he's in my hometown. There was a whole kerfuffle, like someone made a whole bunch of fake police posters about him. I read the article. Man, the things that happened there, man, I'm telling you. Oh, thank God I'm in Toronto. Yeah, because nothing like that happens in Toronto. Is this a FNAF list or what?
Number 4, Nightmare. While Plushtrap may look similar to Springtrap, this is because both animatronics are based on the Spring Bonnie model. But while Springtrap is a more horrific version of Spring Bonnie, Plushtrap is therefore like a more frightening version of the plush Spring Bonnie. Plush Bonnie is a fairly adorable little plush. So how did the idea of this plush become so twisted as to give us Plushtrap? Well, this is because in FNAF 4, Plushtrap is actually kind of like the unofficial Nightmare version of Plush Bonnie. He doesn't have Nightmare in his name, but his presence in the game has led many players to associate him with the Nightmare group of animatronics and plushies. Our dreams are weird, and when a dream becomes a nightmare, even the cutest plush can become something terrifying. Number 3 became Elizabeth Afton. As is custom often with the spooky animatronics from FNAF, after Baby killed Elizabeth, she took her spirit within herself, in essence becoming her somewhat. Elizabeth's soul then became trapped within Circus Baby and would remain trapped for some time. What we don't really know is how much of Elizabeth is actually still in there personality wise. Like, do we see any of that? But when Elizabeth died, she definitely lived on in some capacity through Circus Baby, or at least her soul did, even if we don't really get to see it. And it's believed that in Sister Location, the character you play as, Eggs Benedict, is Elizabeth's brother and William Afton's son, Michael Afton, who is attempting to save his sister's soul, which is why he takes a job as a nighttime technician at Circus Baby's entertainment and rental. Or rental and entertainment, whichever way you want to say it. Number 2, impersonation skills. Expanding on the idea of what makes the Plushtrap Chaser so terrifying as a toy, but especially the one that Oscar comes across in the story, is that this toy quickly becomes a menace once the power goes out. Plushtrap Chaser also apparently has the ability to use his voice box to alter his voice, allowing him to impersonate or mimic the voices of Oscar and his friends, allowing Plushtrap Chaser to trick the boys while he chases them around the house. Number 1, human features. Okay, so let's touch on what makes the particular Plushtrap Chaser from the story Out of Stock special. Creepily special. Oscar notices that this particular Plushtrap Chaser appears to be different. It has strange human-like features, namely its eyes and teeth do not appear to be plastic, but are more humanoid looking. We later find out in the story after the Plushtrap Chaser is defeated that not only did the Plushtrap Chaser's teeth and eyes appear to be human-like, but they were actually the teeth and eyes of a human being. So either someone was killed and their teeth and eyes were then implanted into the toy, or there's a human being somewhere alive who is missing their teeth and their eyes. Both options are pretty freaky. And this whole story is likely one of the scariest explorations involving a version of Plushtrap.
At 10, Resurrection. Glitchtrap is a virus that was scanned into the game we are testing in Help Wanted. Help Wanted is a very odd game story-wise. We play as a playtester who is testing the Freddy Fazbear Experience, which is the in-universe game. The anomaly, as it's referred to by Tape Girl, was actually generated when Fazbear Inc. provided the company that created the game with hard drives that they were meant to scan to use in-game. They supposedly contained code that would help make pathfinding easier and just make actually coding the game easier. However, it ended up creating something, an anomaly that started slowly controlling the game code, the one we now know as Glitchtrap. But the thing is, this isn't the first time we've seen the character, he just wasn't in this form. And at 9, Merging. One of the endings of FNAF VR has you merging with Glitchtrap, and while most of YouTube thinks that you and Glitchtrap are just switching places, that's not what merging means. I'm different. I actually listen. So if you take the actual definition of merging, meaning to combine, then the end of the game really shows us that we are in fact becoming one with the Glitchtrap. Why does he need us? We don't know yet, but assumingly he will be the villain of the next FNAF game, so maybe we will learn more about it then. But basically, this point is that we are merging with Glitchtrap, not switching places with him. Sorry to burst your bubble, MatPat, but honestly, it kinda feels good. Just kidding, MatPat, I love your videos. Please don't block me. And an 8 game tag. The game files always have their own way of naming things. Later that night for FNAF 6's Midnight Motorist game, etc. And FNAF VR isn't any different. While we all refer to him as Glitch Trap, in the game he is referred to as the Anomaly by Tape Girl, and I guess technically the announcer who tells you not to interact with any of the tapes. But the game itself calls him Spring Bonnie Man, no spaces. This is what first tipped people off as to the identity of the masked killer. Well, along with the suit, the color of the bow, the color of his eyes, the fact that one certain individual is the only actual killer that we've seen. He is the only killer, right? The animatronics themselves don't count because they were made by him, so I'm pretty sure he was the only one.
Number 7. Fun with Plush Trap. In FNAF 4, Plush Trap appears in his own minigame, Fun with Plush Trap. This minigame is based around sound cues. If you don't listen carefully, you will fail at the game and get jump scared by Plush Trap, which is pretty scary, let's be honest. The aim of the game is to catch Plush Trap while he's on the X when you turn on your flashlight. Flickering your flashlight on and off when this isn't going on will only slightly prolong you inevitably getting caught by Plush Trap and probably dying. So it is important in this minigame to use your ears as opposed to your eyes, which should be something players are used to at this point, as sound cues have already been established up until now as being mega important in the world of FNAF. And even if you succeed in this game, the pose Plush Trap makes when on the X when you catch him is still pretty frightening.
And 6, the suit. The suit that Glitch Trap wears wears the right word? Like, I mean, he is literally confirmed to be a video game entity, and they can't really wear stuff. The Glitch Trap suit seems to be fairly reminiscent of probably the first suit that Afton wore while working with or testing suits for Fazbear Inc., since he was on the robotic side of things and Henry was the creative and business side. Because obviously before they had spring-lock suits, they had to have normal suits. Notice the stitching around his joints and the 5 fingers, showing that someone would have had to be inside. Plus, the suit looks nothing like the Bonnie we know today, be it the normal Bonnie or hell even Springtrap. Those all have open joints unless it's a plate along the elbow, and not as many fingers if it's not one of the 2 suits that double as both animatronic and suits. So clearly old Willie Afton learned his lesson about those spring locks. Time to go back to basics, I suppose.
Number 5. Justified. What's more frightening than a villain with justifications? When a villain appears to be someone we can understand and even in some cases sympathize with or relate to, that is truly the stuff of horror gold, because it makes them feel more real, and in a twisted way, even though you might be playing against them, you may even silently root for them. In Circus Baby's case, and the case of the other animatronics belonging to Circus Baby's entertainment and rental, she wants to escape because she and her friends are tortured every night, constantly shocked by technicians who aim to force the animatronics into performing. They are trapped in the facility, and when they don't perform as expected, are either electrocuted, scrapped, or opened up and tampered with.
And for fan name, it's actually kind of ironic. I've been calling him Glitch Trap this whole time, but the name was actually given to him by fans. There is no canon source that refers to him as Glitch Trap in-game. Tape Girl calls him the Anomaly, the game code calls him Spring Bonnie Man, and there are no references to Glitch Trap anywhere else in the game files. It was actually a name given to him by the community due to the similarities between him and Afton, because at that point we only thought he was Afton, but we couldn't be sure. This is also the only point where we actually physically see Afton in-game. We've seen Purple Guy and Springtrap, but those were only shadows and a hardly alive version of him. This is the closest we get to seeing his real proportions and really seeing how he is built in the eyes of Scott Cawthon, and thinking of that is pretty terrifying. Getting close to the end at number 3, abilities. Let's treat this like a dating profile, since you sickos love shipping animatronics with dead children. Let's meet bachelor number 1! It's Funtime Freddy! He's 6 feet tall, weighs 350 pounds, but that's all corpses, and has 6 special features. He has a proximity sensor coupled with grouping coordination to make sure your parents don't walk in on you, and he can even tell what is the best time to get a little crazy with his parental tracking and 360-degree pivot. You spin him right round, baby. And fancy something a little more interesting? Well, with his voice mimic you can have any partner you want, but be careful of his charms. His luring abilities will have you begging for him to take you back, and with his 100% concealed storage tank, he will. Yes, killers, bachelor number 1 is a killing machine, literally. Thank you. And ultimately, and at number 2, Plushie. After defeating Glitchtrap in the 16 Tapes ending, the one where you get sealed behind a steel door, Glitchtrap turns into a plushie beside you. This is reminiscent of the Plushtrap animatronic introduced at the Fun and Plushtrap minigame in FNAF 4's hallway. The one we get in Help Wanted though is more of an actual plushie than a crazed robotic killer, and glows in a neon green fashion instead of the normal yellow associated with the suit used by Afton. Wait, does this make Afton a furry? A furry is defined as, in particular, a person who dresses up in costume as such an animal character with human characteristics, or that uses one as an avatar online. And I think killing kids in a yellow bunny suit in this scenario will count as being a furry, since also this is his avatar in this game instead of the iconic purple shadow. I think it counts even more. Finally, in at number 1, voice line. Now, with a full game like FNAF VR, there is bound to be plenty of lines of dialogue. In the original game, Scott was the phone guy himself, obviously, which cut back on costs. But Ultimate Custom Night is really where the voice department had an expanded budget thanks to Scott's mattress full of money from the other games in the series, and all those facial tissue sales. But when it comes to FNAF VR, we didn't get as much. We got the announcer from Pizzeria Simulator, we got Tape Girl, and we got Scott as phone guy again with the typical grunts and moans from the other games in the series. But one character who was distinctly lacking in voice lines was the main antagonist of the game, Glitchtrap. Out of everything that's happened in the game, he really only has one line of voice dialogue, yeah, and it's only heard if you beat him during the 16 Tapes ending. He opens the door, shushes you, and then walks back into the darkness behind him. Out of all the times we see this character or he's mentioned, the only time we hear him speak is him telling his victim to shut up. That's hella creepy if you ask me, and a fitting line for such a terrifying and iconic character. And a 10 designed for kids. All Funtime animatronics were designed to entertain kids. However, knowing what we do about the man behind the designs, we know that's not what they were meant for in the long run. Sure, it's an easy facade, it makes sense why these robots would be so close to kids because they're entertaining them. It's what they were designed to do. But when I say designed for kids, what I really mean is designed to swallow them whole like the deepest pits of hell and keep them inside a special child containment unit inside their torso so that William Afton can kill them and use their spirits for experiments with Remnant, a metallic alloy of animatronic endoskeleton, and child soul juice. Child soul juice, now that I think about it, sounds like something else entirely, because it's used to make children and their souls, unless they're ginger. Hey, I'm allowed to say it, I'm a ginger too. I just took enough souls that it doesn't really look like it anymore. I have a picture on my Instagram, it's just bright red. And at 9, Best Buds. For those of you who have just looked at a picture of Funtime Freddy, you can probably see that he's not alone. The Bonnie puppet on his hand is named Bon Bon and is designed like the original Bonnie animatronic, but with the color scheme of Toy Bonnie from FNAF 2. But there is more to this puppet than meets the eye. Bon Bon actually helps calm Freddy down as seen in the Breaker Room minigame during Night 2 of Sister Location, the 5th game in the FNAF series. I don't know how an animatronic hand puppet calms another animatronic down, especially when they aren't even possessed at this point, only becoming possessed after being combined with a Remnant and creating Ennard along with the other Sister Location animatronics. The only animatronic from that game that's possessed at this point is Baby. Nevertheless, Bon Bon acts as a sort of mini conscience that also decides to kill you during another minigame in that very same game. Gotta love those killer consciousnesses. Consciousnesses? Consciousness? And at 8, Taking Control. The Sister Location animatronics get combined into one in the form of Ennard at the end of the game. Well, technically not, since the actual ending has you getting scooped and the endo spaghetti being shoved inside you, but the actual entity of Ennard was originally mostly controlled by Circus Baby. See the clown face and the fact that Baby was the most popular character and basically the main antagonist of the game, considering how it's your sister, because she was possessed by Elizabeth Afton, and she's the reason why you're down there in the first place. And while that's all well and good, things don't really stay that way. During the story sometime between games 5 and 6, Sister Location and Pizzeria Simulator, Baby and the rest of the Ennard clan get into a fight. After this fight, as shown in the source code for ScottGames.com and FNAFworld.com, Baby gets ejected or removes herself from the Ennard clan. After this, they need to find a new face, and that's where the creation of Molted Freddy comes from Pizzeria Simulator. Funtime Freddy takes control of Ennard when Baby leaves a power vacuum, and that's why Ennard goes to using a Freddy face, because it's Freddy who's controlling.
Number 7. Escape attempts. Speaking of escaping, near the end of Sister Location, when you enter the scooping room, if you follow Circus Baby's instructions, it will be revealed to you that Circus Baby intends to use you as a costume, like a skin costume, so that her and the other animatronics can escape Circus Baby's entertainment and rental. What you also learn is that Circus Baby knows firsthand that escaping the facility is not possible unless she is hiding in a human body, as it seems that she has in fact tried to escape before but is always returned. She says there is nowhere for her to hide in her standard form, or for the other animatronics to hide for that matter. It's scary to think what she could have accomplished during her other brief escapes before she returned to the facility. Probably nothing good though.
And at 6, Stuck Together. Speaking of being thick. While having your best friend stick with you through thick and thin is amazing, it can still sometimes be too much and you might need a break before you actually snap their neck. But in this situation, these two puppet pals, Bon Bon and Funtime Freddy, might actually be stuck together. Looking at the blueprints for the Funtime Freddy animatronic shows us that there isn't really a hand inside of Bon Bon and it's just more wiring. That makes sense since it's literally just one robot and there's no way a giant robot hand is gonna fit into that little puppet. It's like when you see a couple and one of them is like 7 foot tall and the other one's 5 foot nothing. Oh, the amount of times I've seen that is kinda concerning. However, this is weird because FNAF VR's Night Terror room featuring Funtime Freddy, you can see that he does in fact have another hand. Can he remove Bon Bon and put another hand on? Is this an oversight by the dev team? Or is it just that this is in fact a hand inside of Bon Bon that we aren't seeing in the blueprints or wireframes? No idea. This is a facts list and I have no idea. You're welcome. Quality content.
Number 5. Mini Springtrap. Plushtrap might be small, but don't be fooled by his short stature. He is still terrifying. Plushtrap is basically a smaller plush version of one of the most terrifying animatronics in the game, Springtrap. The only thing that keeps him from being on the same level as Springtrap when it comes to instilling fear in the player is that he also appears to be less tattered and obviously does not have a rotting corpse inside him, but he is still pretty frightening given his appearance. He appears somewhat disheveled, has creepy eyes, and lots of small pointed teeth. Also, there is something unsettling about the idea of him being so small. It's easier for him to sneak up on you without you perhaps initially noticing. Unless, I guess, you're looking down all the time.
And at 4, Funtime Auditorium. The Funtime Auditorium is a stage room in Sister Location and is the main setting for the Funtime Foxy Dark Room in FNAF VR. However, this is also the location of Funtime Freddy, who does make an appearance in the Dark Room with Funtime Foxy, and in Sister Location there is actually a yellow-eyed endoskeleton named Yendo, who can very rarely take the place of Funtime Foxy. Yendo seems to resemble Funtime Freddy with slightly broader shoulders and nothing other than the wire of the endoskeleton. It's very odd and I don't think he makes an appearance in any of the other games, even in FNAF VR or Ultimate Custom Night. But it's still interesting to think that a variation of Freddy Fazbear has his own variation. Perhaps he was the prototype Funtime Freddy? What do you think the purpose of Yendo is? Is he just another endoskeleton or was he something more? Let me know what you're thinking and your theories down below. Maybe he's the Stitch Wraith. If you guys want like a Stitch Wraith list, let me know because that would be dope. Put it in the comments. And at 3, the plan. There is some form of overarching plan to the resurrection of William Afton. Like how seasons of TV shows have one main villain and then they deal with it over 20 episodes or whatever, while also dealing with the week-to-week villains. These games won't be different in that regard. Someone intentionally sought out the hard drives for the company to scan, potentially knowing that William left his consciousness inside, and William has some sort of plan in game, whether MapHat is right and it's trying to start a cult in his name, or if he uses your body to escape the game, or if he needs the souls of people with the original names of his victims. Think of the beta testers before you, Jeremy and Tape Girl, potentially named Susie. There is a plan in motion by the end of Help Wanted, but what is it? Only Willie knows, and he ain't talking. And at 2, Impractical Design. I know that he's a robot from a fictional game series that might even be fictional in the game world, but come on! You have to admit that they could have been designed more practically. When we see these animatronics without their faces, or hell, even without any of their shell, there's just too much material. We've seen Endo, and we've seen Yendo. Endo is a normal animatronic endoskeleton. It would be what Chuck E. Cheese robots use, or hell, it's even what Trigger Me Elmo uses. But Yendo is just clunky and huge. He has too much metal for those things to make sense. It's a waste of material and money that no company would approve of. Even if you are using them to kill kids, there is no need to add flesh to your robots. Just have the tank be hidden by the shell. And there is literally no need for the face to come apart like that aside from it making the game scarier. You don't want kids to be afraid of these if you're trying to lure them in, okay? That makes no sense and it's incredibly impractical. Business class. It taught me something. Kind of. Finally, in at number 1, it's just an illusion. Everything is not what it seems when you have a little disc that can make you see things. You better run, cause there's trouble if you see normal things, because everything is not what it seems to. But no, with the addition of the sound illusion disc first introduced in the Twisted One's novel, we can't really trust anything we see anymore. We know that Freddy has a disc on him since we see it when we service him in Sister Location, and we know they exist outside of that since they've also been used on Michael in FNAF 4 to make him see the nightmare animatronics, unless you go by the dream/coma theory. These discs exist canonically within the series. Hell, it could even be why the Bonnie Paper Pal moves into your office in FNAF 2 and 3. It could be Springtrap using the illusion sound disc on you. It could also explain the hallucinations. Why he couldn't just make himself invisible, I'm not sure, but maybe it can't do that. Everything we know about the series could all just be because of the discs, and hell, even the discs themselves could be because of the discs. Wait, that doesn't make sense.
Number 10, pincushion. Weirdly, Circus Baby has a physical feature that makes it feel as though she wasn't completely finished yet. She has pins sticking out of her arms and legs all around her, like she's some kind of animatronic pincushion. Not only is it creepy because it makes you think of a little clown girl with pins sticking out of her, but it also gives you that unsettling feeling that she's not finished yet, that there was still more work to be done on her. Like she malfunctioned and killed a little girl because there was still that work left, as opposed to being programmed for killing. But yeah, knowing William Afton, she was probably just programmed for killing. Number 9, tall. Circus Baby is one of the tallest animatronics in Sister Location, which is terrifying to think about. She's literally a giant, scary clown baby. Circus Baby is, according to her blueprint that we see in Sister Location, 7 feet 2 inches tall. That's like really tall, like basket player level of height. Taller even actually than that. She's taller than Shaq. She also is heavy and not an animatronic that you'd want to fall on you, as she might actually crush you under her weight, which is listed at 585 pounds. Wow. Number 8, Ennard. Circus Baby was the mastermind behind the terrible endoskeleton animatronic that we know as Ennard. She helped to create and came up with the plan to help the animatronics escape via Ennard by having parts of them used in its creation. And of course, Ennard is the animatronic that either leaves Circus Baby's entertainment and rental inside you, or follows you home if you survive in Sister Location. Without Baby, there would likely be no Ennard, as she seems to be the brains of this escape plan as well.
And at 7, FNAF AR. Based on a teaser released by Illumix, a company helping with special delivery, we may see Funtime Freddy making an appearance. Now, I don't know how long ago this teaser was released, so I can't really make any decent guesses as to when we will see him, or hell, he may even be already in the game at this point. But as far as I know, he has only been teased based on what I've seen on the Funtime Freddy fandom wiki page. Like, the website fandom, not like a wiki page about the Funtime Freddy fandom. Is there a Funtime Freddy fandom? I mean, enough of you asked for this video that we ended up doing it, so I'm guessing that there could be? I'm not entirely sure. Let me know down below if you're a Fun Freddy freak or a freaked Fun Freddy. The second one being that you don't like Funtime Freddy, I think. I don't know. I wrote this, but I don't know. Tell me in the comments because I'm genuinely curious. Do people actually like the Funtime animatronics? Aside from Ballorica's, like, thick. That's some Kraft peanut butter right there. Okay, that's enough.
Number 6, good at pretending. One thing that keeps coming back up in regards to the exploration of Circus Baby's character in Sister Location is that she constantly feels she has to pretend. This should have been an indication earlier on that she wasn't what she seemed actually, as it comes up pretty early. We probably shouldn't have trusted her. She also tries to get you to play pretend when she hides you in a suit with spring locks. It is her deceptiveness and cunning skills of playing pretend that often make her so frightening and dangerous as an antagonist. She appears friendly, but is really just very good at manipulating and deceiving others.
Halfway through at number 5, Stuffed. In the Pizza Party ending, assuming you don't have the Christmas update and are playing in VR, your only option is to follow Glitchtrap onto the stage, where we will promptly be killed and placed into a Freddy animatronic, where the game ends. But this couldn't have been the original ending, right? Glitchtrap must have changed it by being in the game. This is shown to us by the fact that he is an anomaly, something that isn't supposed to be in the game, something that Tape Girl tried to contain, but couldn't, something that the announcer in this game reminds us to ignore on a regular basis whenever we come out of the tape room. He's there by mistake, so why does he have such a big role in the game? He shouldn't. The ending was altered by glitch trap as indicated by the announcer repeating the words bye-bye until we fade to black. That sounded hella off to me, as it was repeating itself because for some reason we weren't gone. Glitch trap altered the ending to this game. The question is, from what?
Number 4, killed Elizabeth Afton. In Sister Location, we learn that Circus Baby actually killed the daughter of William Afton, known as Elizabeth. Well, more, we learn that she killed a little girl who is later confirmed to be William's daughter, Elizabeth. Afton warned his daughter about playing with Circus Baby as she wasn't finished yet, and could be considered dangerous. Circus Baby then confirmed what he said to be true when Elizabeth snuck off anyways when her dad wasn't looking to play with Circus Baby. Baby lured Elizabeth away from the other children with ice cream, which her body is capable of storing or producing. She then gave into the urges of her programming and killed Elizabeth with her scooping arm, devouring her. Number 3, Plush Trap Chaser. In the Fazbear Frights Fetch novel, we are introduced to the idea of Plush Trap as a toy created by Fazbear Entertainment in the story Out of Stock. This story follows a boy named Oscar who desperately wants his own Plush Trap Chaser toy and manages to get his hands on a very special one despite them being sold out. More about why it's so special, or in other words really creepy, later. The Plush Trap Chaser is imagined as a very bizarrely designed toy in the story. Plush Trap Chaser is an electronic stuffed bunny who is programmed to run around in the dark and freeze in the light. I'm not sure why it was designed this way, as it seems like an inherently terrifying idea for a toy, and also seems like it could potentially be really noisy at night when, you know, a family might be trying to sleep or something. Number 2, she's gonna scoop you. At the end of Sister Location, if you follow Circus Baby's instructions, you will discover that her plan this entire time was to collect the consciousness of all the animatronics and use their parts to create Ennard. She then lures you into the scooping room and reveals, as Ennard, that she plans to scoop you next. Yay! Disemboweling you so she and the other animatronics within Ennard, within you, can escape the facility. Yikes! Number 1, Scrap Baby. In FNAF 6, Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, Circus Baby makes an appearance. After escaping the Circus Baby's entertainment and rental through Ennard, and being regurgitated by Michael and then later kicked out of that animatronic collective, she ends up returning to her old form. But she has fallen into disrepair and as such has become the terrifying Scrap Baby, who honestly is more terrifying than shiny polished Circus Baby any day of the week. You will have the opportunity to salvage Scrap Baby for parts in the Pizzeria Simulator should you choose, and she is one of the animatronics whose trapped soul is freed at the end of the game, which in her case is the soul of Elizabeth Afton.
Not my daughter. I couldn't save you then, so let me save you now. It's time to rest, for you, and for those you have carried in your arms.